Time to talk. All right, we're gonna talk about citrus today. Citrus grows really well here, in this zone specifically, and in warmer climates. You can get all sorts of different types, but we're gonna talk about some of the important things about it. And one of the most important things is the soil. You really want some just really well draining soil. I make my own soil. I grow in pots. Got a couple videos you can watch on that, so we're not going to go too deep into that. So you got your tree home and you got it planted. The first two things you really want to worry about is you want to let that tree grow. You want to give it nitrogen. You want to get some healthy looking leaves. You want the roots to grow and to fill out. In my opinion, you don't even want to think about fruiting in that first year. Anything that even if it's an older tree, you want to give it time to acclimate to your area, and you want it to break into its new home. It's just like when you move into a new place. You want to get everything set up first. You don't want to you want to unpack and get settled in, and then you start really living. Same thing with these plants. Give them a lot of nitrogen in the beginning, and then that's going to get a lot of that growth of leaves, and then the roots will come along, and then you want to start swapping over to maybe a P or a K, as far as NPKs of fertilization. If you get a tree from someplace else, you want to quarantine it someplace, give it about a week or two in a shadier spot, to get used to your area. But once they start establishing, or they're established, they really do want a whole lot of sun. Maybe you want to give them a little bit of shade cloth in the beginning until they can actually handle it. But the more sun, the better, to be honest. And the thing is, what I'm really noticing is that a healthy tree handles things a lot better than a non-healthy tree. So when we're talking about plant stress and things not doing well here, I grow a lot of tropicals. I started off with actually growing avocados stupidly. But it worked out. I learned a lot, killed a lot, but learned a lot. But when a tree is really healthy, it can really handle temperatures. Citrus and things like that, they're made for this sort of temperature, this climate. So that's not so much anything you have to worry about. But just in general, a healthy tree is a happy tree. A tree with healthy roots, getting the food that it needs, the watering that it needs, is going to handle things a lot better. So let's talk about watering a bit. I've heard things like citrus love to get dried out feet and love to not have water all the time. That's incorrect. I treat all my citrus, all my mangoes, all of my tropicals, my blueberries, everything gets treated the exact same. Well-drained soil, various short waterings. None of that happens in a mineral-based soil. So if you're doing it mineral-based, a lot of these issues that you hear are non-issues. Overwatering and underwatering kind of looks the same on a citrus tree. What happens though if you can't overwater your citrus tree? 50% of the issue is gone. Your leaves look a little bit yellow. Yellowing of leaves on citrus can be so many things. It could be a deficiency, it could be overwatering, it could be underwatering. So you get yourself some good soil, make it yourself, and then you don't have to worry about not only aeration and things like that, but you don't have to change your soil every year, because your soil is not going to be dropping, it's not going to be changing, because a rock doesn't break down. Like, you make your own mineral-based soil, you can have it in a pot for like up to 10 years and not have to really do much if you have it in a bigger pot. And then also, the other thing about it, I only use two different types of pots, 15 and the 25 basically for the most part. The reason why you didn't want to use a big pot with the other soil was because the same sort of concept. There's things that are breaking down in your soil, so you need multiple pots. You'll have things breaking down randomly in random places within the pot. If you have a soil that is well draining, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can go into the biggest pot that you want technically, and as long as your watering's right, you don't have to worry about that. So you got your soil down, you got your watering down. You fertilize in the beginning, with some nitrogen, and then maybe move into the P, that you do the ends and then the Ps for the first year or two. You're pulling off your fruit if it does try to make anything. Generally, citrus is pretty good at self-pruning. Once it establishes, your citrus is really good at self-evaluating itself and making sure that there are things in that it's not overproducing. If it can't do it, it'll get rid of the fruit. Things like peaches and whatnot, those are the things you really have to worry about thinning at all the times. But at any rate, at the first 1 or 2 years, you want to make sure that you're pulling off any fruits and things like that after it blooms. Now, some of the issues you can have with citrus is they are really iron hungry, iron and calcium, zinc. So you want to make sure that you are giving them what they need. They're actually kind of a hungry plant too, so if you get some organic fertilizers, you can almost not overdo it. What I like to do though is during the cold seasons, you want to come through and put on some iron-based fertilizers, let those break down. If you're doing it in a pot, the way that I do mine in pots, with the saucer at the bottom and not overwatering, you don't have to worry about your fertilizers getting washed out a lot. That's one of the bigger issues that people say with growing in pots. I don't have that issue, but you could if you do it differently. The other thing about growing in pots that I have pots on the bottom is because you don't want your plant or tree to grow into the ground and get like if you leave them in the pot too long. I've had issues with plants growing into the soil and then becoming one with the ground, and now you can't move that pot. Anywho, so a lot of that yellowing that you see on leaves on citrus is because it has a deficiency in iron. You can use things like there's foliar sprays. You can also use these to pour into the actual pot itself, so it can go topical as well as in the roots, and add that into your watering cycle, and you can get rid of that. So what I actively try to do is before spring is go through and start spraying what leaves are there, whether some things get fungicide, some things get citrus spray. There's a lot of different things you can get for that sort of thing, but you do want to get something that's chelated iron, and you just kind of want to get ahead of everything. You want these things to, it's going to start, theoretically spring's going to hit and they're going to get a bunch of blooms. You want to get a head start on it. Now, growing in Vegas specifically, one of the biggest things here is wind. Wind will come through and just blow off all of your blooms, all of them. So if you get some protection from wind ahead of time in general and growing in Vegas, that would be so beneficial. Me personally, I'm growing bamboo. All you're trying to do is just think of ways to make windbreaks. I've also used things like shade cloth, for instance, to create a windbreak. You can do multiple layers of this.
And the thing that's really great about these is that they're like a pick and eat when you want type of thing. Like, you're not going to find these in stores because they have like almost zero shelf life. Like, you pick these and then you have to eat them in like a matter of days. But they are super sweet, like the sweetest lemons that you ever make. You almost don't even need to add anything to them if you make lemonade with them. Maybe I should pick that. Okay. But yeah, that's why you won't find them in stores. And that's what I kind of think you should do. Grow things that are like you can't find in your stores, right? These are a little bit different. Can you find lemons? Sure, but you can't find Meyer lemons. So you kind of look up your area first and see what kind of things grow where you are, and then look up the kind of exotic versions of those. In this case, Meyer lemons. If you're in Vegas or like 9B, these are the ones you should grow. And that's what the lemon looks like that didn't take. In fact, I should probably take it off. Little dud. The weather's been so weird. Things tried to set in like December because it was warm, and then wind and cold happened after that. Weird season. Meyer lemons though. Lemons with like a hint of citrus, of like orange to them. Perfect for lemonades and all sorts of desserts. You almost don't even need to add sugar. I love them. But let's talk about something else that's pretty important too with your citrus.
this is kind of important to other trees as well, but we're talking about citrus today. You want to make sure your root flare is exposed. That's the uppermost kind of root, the thicker root that's at the bottom of the trunk of the tree. And this is super important for our oxygen, right? So if that's buried, you're gonna have some problems. So it's easy, super easy to do. You just go and scrape it off. I will generally get this covered up with mulch, but you don't want soil on it. Soil can potentially suffocate it, but mulch should be fine. In fact, this soil, because it's so aerated, you might be okay as well. But that's pretty much it for citruses. I mean, they do well here. Sometimes I see posts about people talking about what's wrong with my tree. Well, it could be any of these things, and sometimes it's hard to diagnose because we're not there. We're just looking at something, from a picture. There could be so many different things, but if we follow these steps, citrus will thrive. I'm gonna have to treat my citrus, my Meyer lemon at least, because I can already tell that the leaves are not so much there, and they're kind of getting kind of yellowish. So I'm gonna go back in there and get that all fixed up. Because of the weird seasons, I didn't get things sprayed like I normally do. So anyway, leave me a comment below if you have any questions, concerns, any other ideas. How do you do your citrus? Does anything in that what I'm saying not make sense? Do the liking, the sharing, subscribing if you like. More importantly, let's grow.